the what we call modern science, with its systematic ways of investigating nature, first arose in a Judeo-Christian milieu in Western Europe. And scientists or historians of science describe a period they call the Scientific Revolution. Sometimes that's dated from about 1500 to 1750. But I think increasingly historians now recognize that the roots of that scientific revolution go back into the late Middle Ages, and will date the whole of the revolution from 1300 to 1750, something like that. In any case, you have figures like Boyle, Robert Boyle, and Sir Isaac Newton, and Johannes Kepler, John Ray, and many, many others, who were first impelled to study nature in a very systematic way. And it turns out, as you read their works, you find that the motivation that they had for the kind of study that they were doing was largely theological. I have on my shelf behind me a book by John Ray, The Wisdom of God Manifested in the Works of Creation, is his famous title. He was the founder of what we would call systematics today. The Linnaean classification system was largely built upon his initial classification of plants and animals. John Ray went on to tutor Isaac Barrow, who proved the first theorem of the calculus, and then tutored Newton, who developed the calculus in its full glory, and all the other wonderful things Newton did. So Ray was the tutor of Barrow, Barrow was the tutor of Newton, and Ray was also, among other things, the founder of British natural theology, the idea that by studying nature, you could see the evidence of the handiwork of God. And all the scientists during this period had a concept that they implicitly employed to give them confidence in studying nature. And the concept was that of intelligibility, the idea that nature could be understood by a rational human mind, by the intellect of human beings, because our minds had been made in the image of the rational creator who built his rationality and design into nature. So there was a principle of correspondence. As John Polkinghorne, the Cambridge physicist priest of he just only recently died, used to say, the reason within matches the reason externally, without, in the external world. And so for that reason, we can study nature and hope to perceive its secrets. And there were many other assumptions about the nature of God and the nature of the natural world, the nature of the physical world, that gave these early founders of modern science both an impetus to study nature and confidence that they could do so successfully. And I write about them in my book. So there are many historians who now see that modern science is actually a kind of a child of Christianity. But in the Christianity, of course, affirming also the Judaic roots of Christian belief. The book of Job was very important to many of the early founders of science in formulating their concepts of the laws of nature, for example. So you have Jewish contribution to this, you have a Catholic contribution from the medieval philosophers, and a Protestant contribution from the reformers, who each contributing theological perspectives that collectively gave rise to modern science.